That's a terrible horn. My horn's not working. They're playing my DJ music, but hold on a second. You're not interviewing me, are we? No, we're interviewing another DJ, another boss lady. Our next guest works for SiriusXM. She designs stuff. She makes music happen. She makes people smile. She also has a little responsibility that is the corporate logo of SiriusXM and everything around it. We had a wonderful opportunity last week to work with her, meet her, talk to her, and fall in love with her all at once. She is Liz Young of SiriusXM. Hello there. How are you, Miss Young?
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
It's so much fun to have you here, and everybody was excited to learn that you were going to be one of our 24 interviews today. You're joined at the table by Camila, Emiliano, Armando, and Mia. And they're going to ask you a myriad of questions about what you do. That round table the other day was just a taste of what you're about to get over the next 27 minutes. But we leave our listeners with an amazing interview with yourself, Liz Young, SiriusXM, and our professional broadcasters at Slam Radio. Take it away, guys.
Go on.
I like to start. I want to read something that I found on your LinkedIn that I thought was very interesting. 3 years ago, you moved from Boston to Miami.
Yes.
And it was a very it was a very pivotal moment in your life, and you posted a blog post, I guess you could say, and it reads, "I moved to Miami. This is why. I lost both of my grandparents and my dog this past year. I noticed it became difficult for me to grow in Boston, a place I've lived in my whole life. I realized if I don't do it now, I will regret it down the road. I've lived in Miami for a month, and I'm proud that I drove down here alone and took this leap of faith." How do you feel about that post looking back 3 years later?
We're starting out deep.
Yep.
Wow, let's get into it. Okay.
Me and Emiliano looked at each other like, did he just really ask that right now?
No, that's so great. Thank you also for, looking at my past. I think it's always good to reflect on where you come from, where you are, how you got there. And for me, coming from Boston, that's my home, right? That's where I grew up. My family's there, my friends are there. I went to school at UMass. And now that I have my experiences in Miami, I think it's just the changes and the growth have happened through kind of, I mentioned this before when we met last week, growth and comfort can never coexist, right? So when you're comfortable in a place, you tend to not grow as much. And for me, I was very comfortable in Boston. I felt like I've been everywhere. I did everything that I could do with, whether it was with art or, with design. And I just wanted to be in a place, first of all, warmer. Miami's warmer, let's be honest. And a place that really showcased a lot of opportunities for art, for design, for music. So that's really what brought me here. And also through, the loss of members of my family that, I will always miss, and they're always with me. So I feel like those times of struggle and loss can kind of change the path of your life in positive ways sometimes, right?
Well, as I would say, multi-talented individual, since we met last week, as you stated earlier, the look, the talk, the act, everything showed me that you were different. We know you since our Miami Beach meeting. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. How do you juggle so many things at once? DJ, artist, part of SiriusXM, designer. You're throwing a lot of stuff. How do you deal with it, and how do you not burn out?
Ooh, burnout. That's a really good question. So for me, it's time management. It's also knowing the right times to just rest. Like, I am all over the place, and sometimes it's really hard for me to sit down and just take a moment. And I think that's really important, to have balance in your life throughout all these different areas like you mentioned. Thank you, by the way. And I just feel, especially, in my position at SiriusXM, I have duties at work, and outside of work, I enjoy these things that help, grow my creativity, help those juices flow in my job. So it kind of, the paths that I've taken are always following what I really enjoy doing, and it kind of helps me grow in those different areas that I have in my life.
I know that this, from being there at SiriusXM and seeing your family unit, kind of, that your like bubbly personality and like your creative mind is like encouraged there. But has there ever been a time where people see that as a weakness, or like think that you're not like mature enough or professional enough?
Ouch, you just touched me.
Yeah, wow. I think someone asked that in the meeting last week about the coming to work with all this energy and this positivity and sitting in a room. Like, I was sitting on a panel with executives at SiriusXM, and how do you maintain sort of as a leader in design, confidence? I think it starts with confidence and reading the room, knowing the right times to be like, let's go, and then times to kind of sit back and listen. Like, it's really important to know when to speak up and when to listen. I mentioned this prior in our other meeting, just enjoying and learning from others that are smarter and more successful further on in their careers than you. That's something that I've really, I think, continued to do, is just learn from people that I aspire maybe to be when I grow up.
You know, as Camila previous mentioned,
Yeah.
you're a multi-talented individual, and you know it's kind of difficult for some people to find one talent that they want to pursue. But you're a DJ, musician, designer. You're like all these amazing things. How did you find your footing in each of these things, and how did you know you were into them?
Yeah, I consider myself a really creative person. I went to school for art. So when I was in college, I really enjoyed, also design, creativity, graphic design. So my interests have always been in that realm as a creative. And those things that I spend my time doing, whether it's DJing, whether it's even yoga, they're all in pursuit of this path of creativity, and with that becomes different communities. So like the music community in Miami specifically, like the local DJ community is awesome. Like, they're very supportive, along with like the yoga community. So through these different avenues that I really enjoy doing, I'm able to meet people that are like-minded like myself. So it's great.
So on your profile, it mentions that you're a podcaster for Care for Design.
Yes.
What inspired you to start the podcast?
There was a point when I had maybe just a couple years of experience, and in design, I had worked at Salesforce and IBM, and people started to come to me asking for advice, like, oh, like, how did you get into design? Like, what do you love about design? And with that, I started to have conversations with many different designers in the community, and I think, to me, it was about like time management. So how could I kind of share my knowledge, but to the masses, versus spending an hour with one person, an hour with another person, saying kind of the same things. So a podcast really allows you to kind of get your voice out there at like a larger scale, and so that many people can kind of listen to you, learn from you. But I do think that it's important to also have like one-on-one conversations and have those moments to be able to provide advice to people. So what really started the podcast for me was just getting my word out there to the masses, and it's a great opportunity there.
I'll get to ask a question here to kill the lull here for a minute. I get to throw one. I'm still a kid at heart, right? I was so impressed with you when we met you last week at Sirius. You had your own jacket you designed. I'm not sure if they brought it up or not yet. They may not have, but we were all kind of amazed by the fact that you had done that. It takes a level of creativity that I've only seen in one person in my life, and she's standing above me taking pictures of you right now. Ever since she was a little girl, she was quirky enough to draw something, do something, and today, everybody knows that if they need something done nice, neat, or cute, that's the one. Are you that person in other people's life just because you have that designer bug in you?
Yeah, wow. Thank you for bringing up the jacket. I appreciate the compliments. I feel like in the corporate world, sometimes you tend to dress a certain way and maybe try to fit into a mold, at least for me in my experience working for big tech companies, like I mentioned, like IBM. So adhering to a certain way of dressing, but knowing that I'm an artist and craving connection with people, how can I do that? And it's through my clothes. This is something I found sort of recently is self-expression through the way I look. And how, I can come in here with, just sweatpants and a t-shirt, but you might not know, like, oh wow, this person is really creative. And so being able to express that through the way I'm dressing and is kind of a conversation starter to gravitate towards people who have similar interests. I think for me, it's about human connection. I've worked remote, which is from home, for many years since the pandemic. So you kind of grow into this this bubble of like, I'm gonna work from home, like yoga pants and like a t-shirt every day. And you sort of start to get into this kind of like shell. And now that I'm in the office, so you can see I work at SiriusXM, it's awesome for me as like an outgoing person. Like I get to bring like my creativity through the way I'm dressing. Like I'm very intentional about what I wear now. Also in Miami, like it's just, everyone's like fun, expressive, like hell yeah, like let's go. I don't know if I can curse, but
You can.
that.
You can. I promise you can.
But I love, just the confidence, right? Like you walk into a room, if you're feeling good about yourself, you'll feel that. And then it kind of rubs off on other people to come up to you and have a conversation. So that's for me like the fashion aspect to my art.
Well, with your artistic skills as a designer, what happens during a circumstance where you have a certain vision, but either your higher ups or employers or the people you work with, they don't fully meet you eye to eye with that vision and you guys have a clash moment?
Are you asking like how do I
Yes.
address that? Okay. So I would say that when it comes to differences in opinions with others that I work with, specifically at SiriusXM, I think it's really about listening and learning from others. Like asking why can go a long way. If someone asks you a question, just say, sorry, why did you want to know? Like what is it about this desire that you have to get an answer from me? Where is this coming from? And then you can kind of go back a few steps and land on a common ground, right? And I think through those conversations and understanding where others are coming from, you can end up meeting each other halfway and not bumping heads as much. You can kind of start to align and come to an agreement, and then it's a good thing. So through tough conversations, just respecting each other and taking a deep breath if it's something you're really passionate about and maybe the communication isn't there yet. So listening, taking a step back and taking a deep breath,
We're going to take a deep breath. We're going to take a break. Elegance is her middle name. Elizabeth is her first name. Miss Young is her last name, and she's joining us here on Insights. She works for SiriusXM as a designer. You could have fooled me. You sound like a radio host. I wouldn't have known any better. I don't know if that's where you got your roots or you're just a talker, but when we come back, we'll figure out a little more from your childhood, not so much about what got you into design, but some of your interests that a lot of people who work with you actually have no idea of. I know of one. We'll be back when I finish stretching on the other side. You're listening to Insights right here on Slam Radio, SiriusXM 145. So usually on the radio, there are no secrets, insights, Slam Radio Sirius XM 145, but we're working on something. We have to do it during your time, but our executive producer of our station, engineer, celebrating a birthday in a couple of days, and we won't be here. So we have him talking in the green room to the next talent. He has no idea what's about to hit him. We're going to bring in the cake now and everything. He's going to go on during your interview a little bit, but we might distract it with a little Uncle Luke. And it's your birthday before we bring on Luke TALENO later on after we're done with you. But certainly we're about to wheel it in. Let's continue with our interview. Yoga, huh? Tell us a little bit about that.
So stretching, yoga, all about that stuff. How does that help you? Because I heard yoga helps with spiritual, mental, and all that stuff. How does that help you relax when you're in the business world?
Absolutely. I think it's important to take care of your mind. As you gain more experience, there's more pressure. That's just natural. So how do you deal with the pressure, especially outside of work, outside of your day-to-day, and how you address it when you're on the job, essentially? So I've been mentioning, like, take a deep breath, like, just
Kumbaya.
relax. Like, yeah, that to me is yoga. It's not necessarily on the mat. It's like the attitude I have towards my everyday life, how I talk to people, how I deal with certain situations. That to me is yoga. It's about the breath and the clearing of all the negative energy and the negative thoughts that you might have throughout the day. Again, as pressures kind of increase as you have more experience in your career. So it's kind of an alignment there. Is some people go to the gym, I go to yoga.
I want to ask kind of two sub-questions in one. How do you think that working in media has affected your creative process? And how do you think yoga has affected your creative process?
I think it's enhanced it. I mean, entertainment media, specifically at SiriusXM, like, I'm so inspired by the people I work with, and just the company in general. So I think that really helps me, find ways to be creative, whether it's at my job or outside of my job.
I would like to dig a little bit deeper into you yourself and your childhood. And growing up, what forms of media, like shows, music, movies, like what got you your vision? Like what built up to you becoming such an expressive person?
Oh, I think watching TV with my family was really fun because I was able to kind of laugh and like enjoy on the same, like in the same moments as my family. So we would watch like TV shows at night before going to bed. And I also enjoy sharing music. So I think those two ways of like connecting with people, whether it's through laughter or through enjoyment of sound, is extremely special. So being here and speaking to you all, it's just really exciting to kind of speak about these things.
Well, I would say you inspire a lot of young girls, young adults, young people in general to just go forward for what they want. But my question to you is, who inspired you growing up?
Wow. I would say a lot of artists inspired me, like musicians. Like growing up, honestly, I really loved pop music. So pop culture to me was really inspiring. Like seeing artists go on stage in front of thousands of people and perform, like that's so cool. Like, isn't that what everyone aspires to be, is someone who other people kind of look up to and admire? And I think it's also like the pressures that, finding out through like media that these artists are going through. It's like, how are they able to handle that and then also go on stage and be able to...
Yes. And Liz was in on it. Yes. The whole time we were going to get you. Get your mic.
All right, so I was legit scared because he's like, we have a huge problem. Don't worry about it right now. Was Luke on it too?
Luke TALENO was in on it.
Oh, so we just met and we're gonna have beef already? Wow, unreal.
Barbie was in on it. She went ahead and got all of this for us as
So
well.
you had me legit concerned, Concho, because when you told me there's a problem.
Yeah, there's a problem is...
Look, I'm sweating already. I got the nervous sweats until I walk in here and there's no sound, and of course Uncle Luke has to blast my ears.
The
We got beef already, dog. We just met. I thought we were cool.
The problem is you're not going to be here for your birthday, so we have to celebrate it somehow.
Of course.
And of course, you always get people with the "it's your birthday" thing.
Yeah.
Including me when you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
So today we got, you thought you were getting away on vacation.
A little bit.
Birthday.
Honestly, I thought you guys were gonna get me when I was sitting down on the chair.
There you go. I gave you
Frank,
the Italian.
question. How does it feel being 21?
21 times 2 now, right?
There we go. Times 2.
21 times 2.
Oh, quick math.
I wasn't good at algebra. What is that?
109.
Oh, for real?
My brother, thank you for everything you do here at Slam Radio. We didn't mean to interrupt Liz, but Liz was in on it and she loves us.
Love it. Love the celebration.
All good fun. We've been having a lot of fun. Even back there, we've been bantering against each other. That's what radio's about. And the more fun you have, the faster the time goes. We can't believe what time it is already, considering the fact that we've been here since 7 o'clock in the morning. Broadcasting, it's been a lot of fun. So I'm glad it's
Students are
rolling
going to
along.
be interviewing you a little bit later, sir.
I'm interested to see how that one's going to flow.
It should be interesting, but remember, they're all going to interview you at once. It's not just the team, it's all of them.
I saw all hands on deck. I feel
All
like
hands
it's a
on
captain
deck.
of a ship or something like that.
Talking about hands on deck, you guys get some hands on some cupcakes as we continue our interview with the one and only Liz Young.
Thank you.
Continue.
Woo,
Save
energy,
me
love
birthday.
it.
So disclaimer to everyone in the room, please save us some, and also the amazing Liz.
Yes, please. I love some sweets, please.
So I mean, as you can see, we have our family here
I
too.
know, it's so sweet. I love it.
How important do you think that is to your work? Like the fact that you have that family unit around you.
Well, it's interesting. The way that you all just like celebrated is really what we do in the office. We bring cakes for each other. We invite everyone into the conference room and do a little surprise, like happy birthday. I think it's so important to have those relationships with your coworkers that you see every day. Like you end up, it's just a natural thing, like supporting each other, loving each other, celebrating each other. And it's so nice to see that here. Like, I think it's great.
It's funny, a coworker of yours was on earlier today talking about that very topic in your very office and the things that you do, and it was Anthony Milian who celebrated
love
birthday 2
Anthony.
weeks ago.
Yes.
You guys surprised them. I asked them, have they celebrated? He goes, I don't think they know. And next thing you know, you guys celebrated with it. You said it, and all of you thought he was 21. He said it on the air today. He goes, no, not yet. I got another year to go.
We were like jaw dropped. Like, what? He's so amazing and so mature. It's awesome.
Thank you very much for the compliment. You're my boy. Our students here are amazing and awesome, and you serve as a great example to so many people in your company as to elegance, brand efficiency, as well as kind of brand recognition and what you bring to the table. I have another interesting question for you. As you see our young adults, I asked you this last week. You like our logo?
Let's take a look.
So Slam is based on the Slam logo that is the school logo, and it's the same logo, only we put it in red. And then the radio was something that we used the same font, and we felt it was elegant enough to put it in white. I love it, but you're an expert at this. Like if you did a radio interview and you walk off, you're gonna say, so how did I do? And I would give you my critique, so I'll ask you to give me your
Put me on the spot.
a little bit. I mean, it's just something we could accentuate.
No, I
maybe
love
a
it.
microphone or
Totally. And you mentioned red. I think color is always something that draws attention. And to me, red, it means passion, it means energy, it means life. And that's what I feel here. I feel a lot of passion and energy. And Slam, it's just it's like a bam, slam, bam. And that's what I get from the typography and Slam. And also just the handwritten radio. It feels very personalized. So here I'm getting the values that you have here in person together emulate through your logo. So I love it. Like I think it's really communicating that essentially. And I saw it on the, on the building here, and I see it on your shirts. Like it's who you are, it's your identity. And I think you asking me is great, because it's always good to ask other people, how do you see us? Like, what do we look like to you? What's your advice? Because you can always assume, and then that's maybe bias, like, oh, it's great, it's awesome, but maybe someone has a different opinion, or maybe you're like, oh no, I don't like it myself, so do other people feel that way? I think that's like research, right? That's what we do every day at the job, is we're asking our users, like, do you like this? Do you not like this? Why? Why not? And so asking me, I think that's great. And to my point, I think it really emulates what your values are here.
Talking to you about our logo has made me wonder, what is your process of generating ideas for a design? Like, how do you know what you're going to do?
Generating ideas. So it really starts with an understanding of what your problem is. So I think of myself as a problem solver and also someone who empathizes. So solving a problem for SiriusXM, understanding why the business is interested in finding a solution, and then also, of course, understanding what our listeners want, and also what our artists' expectations are for promoting their content and getting the word out to their listeners. So it's about listening, it's about learning, and through that, you're able to start building through sketching, right? So it all starts on paper, wireframing, sketching ideas, rapidly iterating, and then working together as a team to find those solutions.
Well, you were talking about likes and dislikes and your community. My question for you is, what do you do in the situation where there's someone who's giving constructive criticism or not so constructive criticism? What do you do? How do you deal with individuals like that?
I would say I learned a lot from being an artist and an art major, because we would have this thing called crit, and I put a lot of my emotional energy into my art. So I think when it comes to my work, it's good to have passion, but it's also good to be logical and understand, like, okay, this is something that I'm doing for the business, so if we take some of that like emotion out of it and think more strategically, we can kind of have a clearer sense of understanding why something isn't maybe working. I think it's really important to stay true to who you are, but also being able to think strategically and say, okay, if something isn't working, why? I'm not gonna take it personally. But sometimes if I do take it personally, it's like sit back and like understand yourself. Why am I taking this personally? And sometimes, emotions and feelings can get connected to work, and sometimes it's good to like separate those. That's why I do yoga. That's why I try to separate some of that like super emotional feelings towards my work, and saying, okay, let's take a step back and think about, why is this happening logically, and it has nothing to do with me as a person. They're not attacking me. They're just saying, okay, this isn't working, and it's good to have conversations like that. It helps you grow.
I love it. Are you laughing because girls just want to have fun? I'm no girl.
I just sneezed my headphones off.
Oh, your headphones went flying off with the sneeze. That's kind of funny. What's funnier is that we've got to say goodbye, which kind of sucks because I was having a good time in this
I was writing this on my notebook.
really, really good interview. I was like, man, maybe I should have made this one an hour. This was very good. Liz, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
It was amazing to hear your insight and things. And yes, I'm going to get into yoga.
Love
It's
it.
part of the new me that's more relaxed and whatever.
Love to hear
That's
it.
what people telling me, that I'm more relaxed. I don't know how that's true running a radio station with teenagers, but I do the best I can.
This is great.
You do more than that. You do so great at what you do. Thank you for all the insights. Thank you for all the advice. And thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Wonderful.
Insights Slam Radio. This has been one hell of a show, but we're not done. When we come back, Hialeah's own Luke Taleno. If you've seen this guy on Instagram, bro, this guy's the bomb diggity. But he's rapping about my joint, baby. Hialeah! Agua Fangui Factoria! On the other side, Insights Slam Radio 145.